And good evening, good Tuesday evening to you. It is January the 17th, and my name is Josh Myers, and I'm going to be your host, hopefully forever, for every Tuesday and Friday night. We're going to get this thing started. I'm riding solo tonight. This is kind of the first installment of what's hopefully going to be a real good show, and we hope you listen to it. We're going to introduce the cast of characters hopefully next episode, and we'll have some people in here and we're going to bounce some ideas off each other. But I'm going to ride solo tonight, Jim Rome style, just kind of doing it on my own here. First week of the wild card playoffs weren't too exciting. I mean, the higher seeds won, not a whole lot of surprises. What we really like to get to, though, is the division round, and this is my favorite round of the NFL playoffs. I mean, you have two teams that are going to be from each conference, had the week off. They got to kind of look back, see what the other teams were doing, and kind of rest up on injuries. And, usually the top two teams do fairly well. Not so much this weekend. We're going to start Saturday afternoon's game, San Francisco and the Saints. Look, the New Orleans Saints' offense this year was absolutely incredible to watch. I mean, when the Saints were on TV and I had a chance to watch the Saints, I was there. I mean, I love watching Drew Brees, but you can't deny it now. This team, if they're not in New Orleans, inside, in the dome, they struggle. It's a fact. Look at it. 3 reasons that the Niners beat the Saints on Saturday. I mean, pretty easy. You just look down to it, look at the stats. San Francisco, they ran the ball. They ran it a lot. 22 rushes, 143 yards. They were running 6.5 yards a clip. That's every 2 plays they ran the ball, they got a first down. Kept Drew Brees off the field. Kept Darren Sproles off the field, Jimmy Graham off the field. That's the best way to stop the Saints. Keep their offense off the field. Turnovers, 5-1. You can't win anywhere when you turn the ball over 5 times, especially on the road. 5 times you had the ball and you gave it to the other team. San Francisco didn't do much with those turnovers. They only got 10 points off of 5 turnovers. Not too good. But again, San Francisco, a little bit limited on offense. Have some pieces in place. But again, you don't look at the San Francisco 49ers offense and get scared. That's not a team that's going to make you piss your pants, when you face them. But, I mean, you just got to go back to it. Look at the numbers on the Saints. Playing outside, these numbers will jump out at you. I mean, just this year alone, if you count the playoffs, the Saints played 18 games this year. They finished 14-4, 13-3 regular season, 1-1 playoffs. They played 12 games outside, 12 games inside, 6 games outside. 12 of those games inside, 38 points a game. Ridiculous. They scored 38 points a game inside. You take them outside, that drops to 26 points a game. That's almost 2 touchdowns. That is a difference in almost every NFL football game. The margin of error in the NFL is so small, you can't give another team 2 scores. You're not going to win. Just staggering. Even on the road, you put them inside on the road and they're a different team. They need to be in the Superdome to win games. Inside, 38.6 points per game. Inside on the road, that number drops 10 points. They only score 28 points inside on the road. This team is built on speed. This team is built on Drew Brees throwing the ball 40, 50, 60 times in a game. And a team against San Francisco that doesn't turn the ball over, they don't make mistakes, they don't beat themselves, you have to play perfect. They dictate the tempo to you. And Sean Payton, he found that out the hard way. Hey, they might have been the kings of the NFC. A lot of people are picking them to go up to Lambeau and beat the Packers. But newsflash, kids, the Saints are not built to play in the playoffs. They need the 1 seed, and I'm not even going to give them the 2 seed. The 2 seed, we know what happened with Green Bay. We'll get to them in a minute, but I didn't see the Saints going into Lambeau and beating them. I didn't. Because this team doesn't know how to play on the road and doesn't know how to play on grass. And I think that's a big issue. Drew Brees, he threw the ball 63 times. They ran the ball only 14 times. Chris Ivory had 9 carries. 9. You're not going to win in the playoffs when you're running the ball only 9 times. Little side note, where is Mark Ingram? They spent a first-round pick on this guy. He didn't even play. They have this guy, he won the Heisman Trophy. Right? Did he not win the Heisman Trophy, Mark Ingram, 2 years ago? Alabama? They have this guy, big, powerful back, would be perfect for a change of pace for Darren Sproles, and they don't even put him on the field. Now, I'm not in New Orleans, and I don't have a heartbeat on this and a pulse on this team, but Chris Ivory? Really? Chris Ivory. 9 carries, 23 yards, 2.6 a carry. Not going to get it done. I think New Orleans, as great as Drew Brees is and as great as their offense is, they need to do some fine-tuning in the offseason, and they need to find a way to balance their attack, be able to run the ball more, and be able to find a way to beat teams on the road. Because if they're not going to win their division and they're not going to grab that 1 seed, they're going to be the San Diego Chargers. They look pretty. They dress pretty. Everything looks nice. But, you saw the result. San Francisco, they're going to be in the NFC title game next weekend. And I'd like to find somebody who said that at the beginning of the year. Because what Harbaugh is doing over at San Francisco, unreal. This team quit on Mike Singletary. This team had their star tight end thrown off the field during a game. Do you guys remember that? Singletary basically pulled Vernon Davis off the field and threw him into the locker room and said, "You are no longer playing today, and I don't even want you on the sideline." This was a fractured roster. This was a fractured team. And Harbaugh deserves all the credit. This is the same team as last year. They didn't do anything that great over the offseason. Still had Frank Gore. Still had Alex Smith. Michael Crabtree. Vernon Davis. They didn't do much. And they went from last to first. It's one of those NFL success stories that at the beginning of the year, no matter who your team is, you think you can have a shot because things like this happen. Alex Smith. I don't even know where to start with this guy. He answered Drew Brees every single drive in that second half. It was awesome to watch. 24 for 42, 299 yards, 3 touchdowns, no picks. He played great. You got to give it to him. Yeah, the Saints aren't the best defense in the world, but did anybody think Alex Smith was going to beat out Drew Brees in a shootout in the second half? I didn't. I thought it was going to be close, but if this game went into the 30s, I didn't think San Francisco stood a chance. But more power to them. They surprised a lot of people, and they deserve to be where they be. San Francisco. They don't think they can't win the whole thing. They do it all. They run the ball, they turn you over, they stop your run, they block well, they don't cause penalties, they don't kill themselves. Watch out for the Niners. It's a little late to say that. There's only 4 teams left, but let me tell you, they can beat any of these teams that are left. They can win this whole thing. They can win the whole thing. The night game that night, well, if you want to call it that, The Denver Broncos went into Foxborough and they pretty much got schooled. This game was over quick. Look, I'm not going to sit here and talk about Tim Tebow because you can get Tebow talk pretty much anywhere you want now. This game was over fast. I didn't focus that much on the game because it was over so quickly, but just some things that jumped out at me. 7.8 yards per play by the Patriots. Per play. That means every 2 plays they got a first down. That means they scored a lot of points. They had 64 plays for 509 yards. Denver ran 7 more plays and only had half as many yards total. It just incredible performance by the Patriots. You give Belichick 2 weeks to prepare for you, something as gimmicky as this spread that the Broncos run. I mean, people should have seen this coming from a mile away, and I hope they did. Tom Brady just, what do you want? 6 touchdowns, 350 yards passing, 135 QB rating. But 45-10, New England, they did what they needed to do. Denver, look, great story. Tebow, nice guy. He's what you want people to be. He's a role model. And he seems genuine. I don't think he's fake, like some people say. But I know one thing he's not, and that's an NFL quarterback. We really need to start assessing that as something different here. He's not an NFL quarterback. The guy can't throw. Put him at fullback, put him at H-back, tight end. Hell, yeah, I think he'd be a pretty good run-stuffing safety. I mean, he doesn't go down. I mean, Vince Wilfork said he's one of the toughest guys he's ever had to tackle. Vince Wilfork's almost 385 pounds. Have you seen Vince Wilfork lately? I think he swallowed a linebacker on his way to work the other day. I mean, this guy's huge. Trying to say that Tim Tebow's the toughest guy you could tackle. So, look, John Elway, Vice President of Football Operations of the Broncos, has a big decision to make, and he's got a big problem, too. His decision is he going to go with Tebow or not for 2012? He doesn't want to. He's not a professional quarterback. Elway knows that. Elway knows that more than anybody. But this Tebow guy has a cult following, and Elway has a decision to make. Because if he says Tebow's not my guy and he's off this team, he's going to hear it. Guarantee you he will hear it. He has the following of the fans in Denver. And, the whole miracle thing and the whole divine intervention stuff, you can leave that to yourself. But he did not have enough for Tom Brady and Bill Belichick, and that's pretty much all I'm going to get into with that. New England, they're going to host the AFC Championship game. Tom Brady has only lost the AFC Championship game once, and that was the one time it was not in Foxborough. So we'll see what happens with that, and we'll